Hello, everyone. How you doing? It's Dave Bondy. We are live and we are keeping it real. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. We were having some technical issues for a minute there, but we are back on. I appreciate everyone being there. Thank you for joining me, everybody. We are going to run the countdown real quick because something with my computer happened. Let's run the countdown and we'll be right back. And hello, everyone. How are you doing? It's Dave Bondy. I hope all of you can see me and hear me okay. Let me know if you can see me and you can hear me. That is good. Thank you for this edition of Keeping It Real. This is Dave Bondy, everybody. Sorry there. You couldn't hear me, maybe. But let me know if you can hear me. We've been having some computer issues this evening. It always seems to happen. Always seems to happen. So, can you hear me? Let me know if you can. Thank you, everyone. Whether you're watching here on, if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube or locals, wherever you're watching from, let me know. And if you're watching, please share this video out with your friends and your family right now. At the end of the show, we're going to go to our subscriber only chat on locals. So if you're not a subscriber yet, you need to become one. So tonight we're going to be talking about something very, very interesting that I think some of you may know about, some of you may not know about. But in the state of Michigan, um, to in the state of Michigan, yeah, locals. In the state of Michigan, if you have a professional license, for example, if you're a doctor, if you're a pharmacist, if you're a therapist. A lot of licenses require that you have mandatory training. Well, did you know that in the state of Michigan, you have to have mandatory DEI training, implicit bias training, in order to renew your license? This is something that happened during COVID, during the Whitmer administration. She put this into place. Patrick, electrician. Do electricians have to go through this training, Patrick? One of the comments down below. So very interesting indeed. Hello, Jordan. How are you doing? Just saying hi to everyone in all of the comments. And for those of you who are watching on Facebook right now, it is really important for you to share this video because Facebook does not like showing this video to people. So even if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, hit the share button. Please share button right now. Share, share, share. That way more people will see this. But anyway, yeah, in the state of Michigan, if you have a license, um, you need to get DEI training. Joshua says DEI training is not only wrong, it creates a hostile work environment and should be illegal. That's according to Joshua. Do you agree with him, everybody? Thank you from Bay City. Thank you. So yeah, very, very interesting indeed. And I was contacted by someone who has a son who is autistic, and he works at a pharmacy, and his license was coming up. Well, he was pretty surprised to learn that he was going to be required um, to get this. He had no idea, and he was pretty insulted. So I want you to go ahead and listen I talked to him just a short time ago about this, and he is just flabbergasted. And he, just like you, think it's wrong. And hello, everyone. How you doing? Joined by Greg here in Michigan. This is an interesting story that a lot of you may not know about. That in Michigan, to renew your professional license, you need to have mandatory training. And some of you would think that makes sense when it comes to if it's related to your profession, but there is so-called DEI training, implicit bias in Michigan. And I was contacted by Greg because you have some information about this, not necessarily yourself, but you said your son?
Yes, that's right. My son. He's having to go through the training himself. He talked to me. He's on the autism spectrum, and he's running into some requirements for relicensing. And he says, "Dad, I don't understand why I would have to go through this. I'm not biased. I'm not racist. Why do I have to take this stuff just to renew my license? I'm already doing the job." And so we sat down and started covering this stuff. And it's kind of alarming, the things that you're forced to admit throughout this training process, all of which he says it doesn't apply to him. He doesn't think that way. That's not him.
So in order to renew his license, it's in Michigan, it's mandatory. He has to take, like, does he have to take implicit bias training, that specifically?
Yes. It has been mandated for most of the medical occupational licensing in Michigan. I don't have the exact count, but I think 20 different licenses, give or take a couple.
Yeah, I know. I think trainers, several other positions as well. I'm trying to look right here. Healthcare professionals, and it came up during COVID, at least in Michigan. I think is when it came up, and I think people forgot about it. But it's now in place, and it's here at least now for good. It looks like.
Yes, a lot of people are running into it now because their licenses are needing to be renewed, and it's now a requirement. You are unable to renew it unless you take the implicit bias testing.
Okay. I'm reading something. The state public health code defines implicit bias as an attitude or internalized stereotype that leads to unequal treatment based on a person's race, ethnicity, or one of many other characteristics. But you're saying for your son, he was really more so confused, right?
Yes, he was confused. He's evaluating this test, and there's obvious right answers, but it doesn't apply to him. And then when it gets to areas of the quiz that makes him admit that he in some way is biased and how he should act, he's saying, "Dad, this is not me. I'm not biased. Why do I have to answer this? Why do I have to say that this is the case?" And many people would say, "Well, yeah, then just answer the right answer." But that's not the point. This is hindering his ability to get relicensed, for him to take a test that not only it doesn't apply to him. He's not racist or misogynistic. He doesn't have this implicit bias, unlike the professionals like to say everybody has. Yeah. It's just a roadblock for people to renew their licenses easier.
Now, many people, there are safeguards in place where he works, or anybody in the workplace. There are already laws against, I mean, I don't want to say bias, but racism. You can't, you can't discriminate against certain people. So those
Correct.
laws are already in place. And I'm sure where he worked, if he did exhibit those behaviors, he wouldn't be working there anymore, probably.
No, he would be out of a job in a quickness. He works around people. He works under the cameras. If those cameras have microphones, he's got supervisors. He's constantly being monitored, as is all the other many other medical professionals, but especially in his situation, in pharmacies. It's going to be very known very quick if he is discriminating against someone.
Yeah, exactly. Am I able to show the actual document of that?
Yes, please.
Okay. This is a verbatim of the training. And it's important to know, too, he has to pay out of his pocket, right, for the training?
Yes, he has to pay for this.
Can he choose, like, what company he goes for, or how does that work? Any idea?
Yes, I think there's multiple providers that the state has approved to provide the implicit bias training.
Okay.
So you get to pick, your own. But from everything that I've seen, you have to pay for it, no matter
Yeah.
which one you choose.
You were saying, I think it was slide 31, and this is a verbatim of it right here. Acknowledge our own implicit bias. And this is the speaker that was speaking right here.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, we will provide you with a link for a video. This is one health crisis. Basically, it gives examples, it looks like. So acknowledge our implicit bias. What do you take from that?
Well, I take from it that we don't have a choice to be biased or not. We just automatically are, based on the color of our skin, the person that's taking this test. We just automatically are biased, and we don't have a choice in the matter. We just simply have to acknowledge it and comply.
And obviously there are racist people out there.
Absolutely.
And they're horrible individuals. But this is more about, with licensing in Michigan, you don't think this is necessary. Is this just another hurdle when it comes to businesses or even employees, making it tougher for the workforce in Michigan?
Yes, absolutely. And honestly, I think the problem is even worse than that. Yes, it does make it more difficult to obtain licensing, but the testing that, it's like medical professionals should be taking, that should replace something like this, is to help people, or to help these professionals improve on patient experience, or data security compliance, dealing with HIPAA, dealing with people's medical records, what to do, what not to do. And yes, they do receive training. They could receive more advanced training. You can't be too safe. And, understanding in healthcare, there's a lot of AI trends that are coming up. There's a lot of documentation out there that people need to know, like with medical billing, with prescription, or in a doctor's office. They're now starting to use AI for coding in the medical bills, which can result in some problems. That's the areas that we need to be focused on training. And to add insult to injury with regards to implicit bias training, all the studies out there that I've seen really show that implicit bias training doesn't yield any results. They're saying that people that go through this implicit bias training very rarely does it modify their behavior. So you have a state that's mandating that, these professionals, to get their licenses, take IBT training and pay for it, also that it can yield in no results. It doesn't work. And there's a lot of studies out there to show that it doesn't.
Does he also have to take that kind of train? Is it mandatory training for his job? Does he have any other kind of that with the state?
The state requires him to do pharmaceutical type training that's, industry specific, and everything, looks above board on that stuff. Outside of that, he has to take training that involves child trafficking, human trafficking, things like this, identifying it, things to notice, which are great. Those we absolutely need. And we need more awareness. I want to say this, we need more awareness on discrimination and bias and things like this, but not in the capacity that's being provided, where it's a forced program to take before you can get your medical or renew your license in the medical field.
Yeah, and as you were saying, does it even help? I mean, even if does it help? I mean, I've talked to many people over the last week who have taken this, and they're honest with me, and they'll literally say, by the way, did he have to go somewhere, or could he do it virtually? Was he allowed to do it?
Yeah, he was able to do it virtually.
A lot of people I've met, it sounds like he actually listened and paid attention. Some people just turn on the laptop and go do their laundry or whatever and don't even pay attention.
Yeah, no, I mean, he takes his job serious. He takes everything that he does very seriously, which is why it was so concerning for him. Because, maybe you or I, we could look at this and say, I'm not this. This doesn't apply to me. Whatever. I'll click the box. I'll say the right answers and move on. But not him. He takes it very seriously, because he's having to admit things that simply doesn't apply to him.
Wow. So he took it personally.
He did take it personal.
Yeah. Is the state, when they did it, it was during COVID, and I actually I'm going to play this right here, if you don't mind, 40 seconds. this is when it first came out. I remember I was working at the TV station watching the governor. Let me play this real quick.
COVID-19 has had a disparate impact on people of color due to a variety of factors, and we've got to do everything we can to address this. There's no doubt that our healthcare workers have been heroes, bearing risks and saving lives. The evidence shows that training and implicit bias can make a positive difference. So today we are taking action to improve racial equity across Michigan's healthcare system. In fact, this training has value for everyone in every profession, which is why I have arranged training for myself, the executive office, and state government.
Yeah, so I remember that at the time, and I didn't even think it's on the books. You know, I think a lot of people thought at the time, oh, it was just for COVID. No, it's now permanent on the books. I think a lot of people forget that COVID was used, and I'm not saying this is good or bad, but COVID was used to implement a lot of stuff.
Oh yes, and you know, they had, I guess they're, you know, they look to. I say they. It seems like that our state looks to California a lot lately to get their ideas, and that I don't think is necessarily a good thing. So they were one of the very first to implement this, and I believe we were the second or third state to implement IBT training.
Wow. Well, that's what I just wanted to do this to talk to how these things affect people. And your son, I mean, he, as you're telling me, he's a good kid. He likes everybody. I don't know him. I've never met him, but it personally made him feel attacked, kind of, right?
Yes, very much, very much. Yeah. It's unfortunate. And in 2015, you know, the Obama administration kind of put out a call to action to reduce some of the regulatory hurdles for people who are getting their licensing, even gave grants, you know, specifically to identify unnecessary licensing criteria. And it seems like we're going in the exact opposite direction.
Yeah, and yourself, I mean, it would seem like Michigan's population it's been going up for the last year, but people are leaving Michigan. And is it your opinion, things like the red tape, the trouble with whatever license you have, or housing, or whatever it is, getting a teaching license, it just makes it tougher? And maybe one reason why people are just like, I've had enough.
Yes, without a doubt. I think that we've all heard the horror stories, all the red tape. Michigan, it seems, is one of the more difficult states to deal with when it comes to licensing. And the mandate has been out for us to, you know, fix that problem. Same thing with transparency in the government. And we don't seem to be making any progress in these areas. In fact, it just seems to be getting worse.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, if I was going to say if the governor could hear you speak, but I interviewed her once, but after that I wasn't allowed to interview her ever again. I don't think she didn't like me. But what should state lawmakers focus on? Because we have Democrats, we have Republicans. Michigan is so very close. I mean, just a couple seats could make a big difference. What should both sides think of when it comes to stuff like this? It seems like some of them are not thinking about the real consequences of what they do.
Right. I think if I could talk to both of them, I would tell both sides of the house they need to work together to make it easier to keep our skilled professionals. Michigan seems to be hemorrhaging skilled labor and skilled professionals, licensed professionals. We're losing them to other states. And I think one of the primary reasons is all the regulatory red tape, whether it's directly related to, you know, their licensing, or it's even insurance related. I know that's a topic for another day, but we need to make it easier for people to live in Michigan. And right now it seems to be, we're making things harder.
Exactly. Well, I appreciate it. That's what I wanted to talk about and get this out there, because I think some people may not like bringing this topic up, but I think the more you talk about something, the better. It can't be a negative, I think, just to put it out there.
We need dialogue.
Yeah, good dialogue, not people like CNN yelling at each other on a screen.
That's why I'm very thankful for what you're doing.
Well, I appreciate that. And if you have any updates, let me know. If you need anything, let me know. But thank you so much. And tell your son I said hello. And yeah, one day I'd like to meet him.
Definitely. Will do, for sure. And thank you for having me on.
Well, there you go. What do you think about that? Yeah. The state of Michigan, requiring implicit bias training. And the issue is that it creates another barrier when it comes to employment, not only for the employee, but also for companies. Stellantis just recently decided to pass Michigan up and go to Indiana for a plant that they were going to put down in Mundy Township. So that's more of the thing. There's so many licensing issues in the state of Michigan that people are so upset about that you shouldn't have to, they shouldn't make it extremely difficult to try to have a job. And in the state of Michigan, that's what's happening. And for those of you who are watching, who are not from Michigan, well, that's what you're dealing with if you move here. In addition to your car insurance, that you know how high that is. By the way, everyone, thank you for watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Rumble, and Locals. At the end of the show, we are going to go live on Locals only. But I have something interesting coming up next that I want to show you. Austin, Texas. Okay. I got a tip from someone on Twitter, on X. A great person, great musician, by the way, about the Austin, Texas Public Library. Now, when you go to a library and you log on to their Wi-Fi, you would expect you'd be able to go on and look up most things, correct? Well, you would be wrong. I want to play something for you. Let me bring this up right here. Okay. So let me pause this for you. This is someone's cell phone. This is a screenshot of a cell phone. And if you're watching right now, please share this because everyone needs to see this. Okay, so this is a cell phone. And as you can see right here, they are connecting to, let me play it. They are connecting to the Wi-Fi at the Austin Public Library, okay? They've connected to the Wi-Fi of the Austin Public Library. They're on Google right now, okay? John 3:16. That's what the person searched on Google. Let's see what happens next. Okay? So the person is on, their site cannot be reached. Okay? The site cannot be reached. They're going to try it again. Maybe it was an error. Maybe Google, maybe something happened. And let's take a look right here. Nope, the site cannot be reached. Very, very interesting. Well, we found out that the Austin, Texas Public Library was blocking people from looking up religious material on their Wi-Fi. So what's going on? Are they intentionally doing this? Are they not intentionally doing this? Very strange. So I reached out, as a journalist should. I reached out to the Austin, Texas Public Library system, and I got a statement back from them. And let me look if I can bring this up on the screen right now. Let's take a look at the statement. And I'm going to read it for you, and I want you to read it too. Take a look at your screen. Austin, Texas Public Library. They are saying, quote, "Thank you for bringing this to our attention. After looking into the issue, our information technology staff have determined that during the process of merging multiple networks, some settings for the content filtering software, which we use to help us enforce our public computer use policy, were erroneously applied, and several broad content categories of web content were being filtered on our public Wi-Fi networks that should not have been. Our staff have corrected the mistake. Would you be willing to share the contact information of the person who contacted you so we can let them know directly as well?" From Baylor Johnson. Well, to say the least, I did not give them the information of the contact person, the source that messaged me, but I did reach out to that individual. Now, the question I have for all of you, did they do this on purpose? Did they intentionally block religious sites on their Wi-Fi? The library said it was a mistake, but the individual who messaged me, and I investigated it, and I can play this video again for you. He did it several times, as you can see right here on his phone. He tried to log on, and he went onto the Austin, Texas Public Library Wi-Fi, and he was blocked from going on certain websites. And one of those was just a website about a Bible passage. So very, very interesting indeed. And just an example of, is it censorship? Is it not censorship? I don't know. I'm not going to give my opinion because my opinion really doesn't matter. But I wanted to bring it to your attention. And this is just one of the stories that my followers give to me. And when they give it to me, I do the research on it and I look it up. So really interesting. You can be the judge as to whether or not they were doing that intentionally or not. Let me know what you think in the comments below. So right now, if you're watching, that's a good question. I have not asked him if the situation has been remedied. I will ask him if that situation has been remedied, and I'll find out. I'll update you on that. Okay. One more very interesting thing happening in Michigan. Do you know a lot of communities have little mailboxes? Yeah, Jenny, you have a good point, Jenny. Let me put your comment on the screen for everybody. Everybody, can you see Jenny's comment right now? Hey, Lori, Pat, Lady Ishi, that's a good question. Scott as well. Bear Truth, right? Slay, exactly. So Jenny says, what kind of filter is designed to block things like that? They more than likely did it on purpose, in my opinion. But if they unblocked it, then good start. Okay, well, that's according to Jenny. She and I'm going to find out if they did in fact block it. I'm going to message him and find out my source. Kelly says she thinks they did it on purpose. What do you think? Let me know. So a lot of different opinions out there as to whether they did it on purpose or not. But I do give them credit, though, that they did return my message and give me a statement. That I do give them credit for. So I am not judging one way or another because I do not know. So I take them at their word, and sometimes their word is wrong. But anyway, so that is the story with that. Okay. In Frankenmuth, Michigan, it's a nice little town in Saginaw County, Michigan. People have been making little tiny houses, like literally like this big. They're little libraries where you can put books in. Anyone know about these? And you can put books in, you can take books out, you can read a book and then return it. Basically the honor system. Well, 2 nights ago in Frankenmuth, Michigan, someone went through the entire town and swiped all the books. So very, very interesting as to why someone would do something so bizarre. Was it a prank? I talked to someone from the Frankenmuth Library about this. Take a listen to this. And hello, everyone. Joined by Beth now, early learning specialist at the Frankenmuth Library. We have some bad news, but we're going to turn that into some good news. Hello, good to see you.
Thank you for having me.
So earlier this week, explain a little bit. Earlier this week or yesterday, you had reports that there were some thefts of books. Explain what happened.
Yes. So yesterday morning, checking Facebook, and some of my friends that have little free libraries and on their property were mentioning that they were emptied over the night sometime. And so I started seeing more and more of those pop up. And then around the evening time, I'm like, we're just going to go check the one in our yard. And I had my daughter go out and check to see what was happening with ours, and she goes, "We were robbed. Like, it was empty." And
that's a picture. That's a picture of it, yes, right there.
That's our library. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, explain. I think I know what most people know what this is, but it's really cool. Basically, it's like a mini little library, and you put books in there, and people can read them, take them, return them. Can they add to them as well, or how's it all work?
Absolutely. So I started by putting a few titles of my own books inside there, everything from adult books to kids' picture books and things like that. And then people come along. We actually, when we started on our road, we put a little flyer in everyone's mailboxes on our road explaining what it was, and that we would love for people to feel free to help themselves to books in there and trade. You can donate. if you'd like. And it's kind of nice to go out there every time. The library is a little bit different. So it's nice to see kids and families walking down our road or riding their bikes, and they pause and stop and peek in. And if a book is exciting for them, they can borrow it, return it, or trade it with one of their own that they'd like to donate. And it's worked really well. We started the library back during COVID time. So Matt Hotchkiss from the Frankenmuth True Value was the one that helped me build the library, and we painted it. And it was a time where we were stationary, and we weren't going places or going to the library. So our little neighborhood, used it quite frequently. And it was a good time for, people to be able to use that instead of having to go out in public. And so it's worked really well. I've never had the library emptied before. I'm hoping whoever has the books is enjoying them. They're great books. Hopefully they're reading. I can fill it up with more. I'm kind of just wondering what happened and thinking, is this a prank? Is this, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you would hope that, why? That's always the question when something silly or weird happens like this. Why would someone do that? And it would lead you to believe it would be a prank or something. But as you're saying, you would be happy, and I'm assuming maybe the other people who had them stolen from their property, you'd be happy to have them return them in the middle of the night. That'd be fine, probably.
Sure, that'd be great. I guess for the public out there, if you do see a little free library in our community, just if you have any extra books at home that you're not using and you'd be willing to share, we could always use a few more here and there. It seemed to be a pattern that happened with 5 or 6 different libraries being emptied in different locations. Some of the libraries are registered as little free libraries. If they're registered, then you can view them on the map at littlefreelibrary.com. And
Really?
You'll be able to see where they're located. My library was not registered. So it's interesting to see that both registered and non-registered libraries were emptied yesterday. So it must have been just somebody that had seen it.
What is that? What's that website again?
I think it's littlefreelibrary.com.
Yeah. Or
So
.org, I think.
.org. Okay.
Let me bring this up on the screen. I can show it to you. That I had no idea that. So this goes beyond Frankenmuth. This is
absolutely. Yeah.
This is really cool.
It's nationwide.
I bring it now. I don't. This is a website, maybe Little Free Library.
Yep.
That's it right there. Okay, and it actually has a map somewhere where you can look.
Yes. So if you can search any area, like say you're on vacation and you want to find one, you can search for little free libraries in my area.
Oh, wow.
Map them out.
It's the whole world.
Yes.
That is awesome. Okay. Anyway, sorry, you just yeah, there we go. Frankenmuth right there, and you have red ones, so it's not Saginaw, Millington, all in the area. That is really, really cool. Wow. Okay. Well, there you go. I will put that link on the video so people can know. Can they come to the library and just drop some off in Frankenmuth, or do they have to go to the specific little libraries?
Yeah, if you're not able to come to each individual little library in Frankenmuth, I'm more than happy to distribute the books myself. I'm the children's librarian here, so I'm here most days, and so you can drop off books here at Wixon Library, and I will make sure that they get where they're supposed to get.
Okay. How cool. Little kids, I don't say little kids, but even adults love the idea of a little miniature library. Look at how cute that is. So my 6-year-old, he's seen these around town, and he in different towns like Saginaw and even Bay City, he loves these. It's a really cool idea.
Yes.
So and I have to ask, are the police even investigating this, or is it more of a thing where just return them over? Just return.
Yeah, it's not really a theft per se, just because it says right on there, little free library. It's just common courtesy to not take all of them.
Yeah, I guess you're right, and that's why a lot of people, it's for that. So it's more of a. Hopefully I can get with you in the next few days and you'll report that they're all back now.
I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll let you go. I know you're busy. I'll put this out there and I'll put that website as well. And I really appreciate you taking the time.
Of course. Thank you.
Yeah, really interesting story. I mean, it wasn't a major crime at all, but it's just interesting. I learned something during that right there. I didn't know that there was actually a national registry for that. It's very, very interesting indeed. No clue, really, no idea whatsoever. I just got some new information coming in just a short time ago, and a lot of you will find this very interesting. A lot of you talk about George Soros, on how he has influence in the United States on lots of things. Well, his son Alex is going to be taking over, I believe, the Soros empire. And he just posted something really interesting on Twitter. Take a look at your screen right here. Alex Soros posted a picture of him meeting with Governor Gretchen Whitmer in Michigan. This was posted 4 hours ago today, I believe. He says, women across the country are leading a historic mobilization since Roe v. Wade was overturned, fighting to protect their reproductive rights. Grateful for leaders like Gretchen Whitmer, who are standing up for democracy and the rights of all Americans. I'm not sure if this picture was taken recently or if it was in Michigan or where it was. But Alex Soros meeting with Governor Gretchen Whitmer, just wanting to put that out there, and you can say what you want about it. Just letting you know what's happening. That is just making the rounds right now on Twitter. Apparently, people are talking, as you can imagine. Also, everybody, we are going to be talking. I just checked in just a little while ago with that with the man in Austin, Texas, to see what's happening with the library, and he did not write me back. So I will check in on that for you, and I will let you know exactly what is going on. For those of you who are in Michigan, I know you've been talking about, and I've been paying attention to the protests. In some instances, they are riots that have been happening across the country. I'm not sure if all of you know, but at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor, they have had protests, but they have been honestly mostly peaceful. There has not been, that I know of, any violence in Ann Arbor. The university, though, is preparing for violence. They have doors boarded up at the university. I'm trying to find some pictures that I took, or that were given to me from the University of Michigan, going to show you exactly what it looks like there. And it's very interesting because a lot of these protests, according to many analysts and experts, they're paid. People are organizing them. It's funny because, not funny, but you see that many times all of the tents look the same. Like they bought all of the tents at the same store. So it seems like things that are happening throughout the country. It's all at the same time throughout these different universities. And a lot of people are asking me to comment on this. And I believe in free speech. I believe in protesting. What I don't believe, though, is breaking the law, standing in the road, committing violence. When that happens, that's when you get to be in a bad situation, and that's wrong. So I think most of you would probably agree with me on that one. And if you don't agree with me on that, that's absolutely fine. Michigan State University, someone just says, I did not know about that. Hey, Jay Horto, I need to do another story on that. In the state of Michigan, they're trying to eliminate property taxes. I interviewed someone a few months ago on that, so I probably need to focus on that again because a lot of people are asking me about that. Breaking news just coming in. The United States has issued a travel warning for Germany. They say terrorist groups are continuing to plan attacks in Germany. So that information just coming out within the last few minutes. Just wanted to let everyone know about that. Once again, everyone, thank you very much for watching. If you're watching on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Rumble, or Locals, thank you so much, everybody. We are trying to do something special here and making this something special. We are building a show, and it's been 1 year now since I've been doing this. So I really appreciate all of you for being here. Now, we are going to end the broadcast on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter X, and on Rumble. We are going to continue the broadcast on Locals. Locals is my independent journalism platform. Locals is just like Facebook. There's no censorship. There's no algorithm. That's what Locals is all about. So imagine being able to say what you want. We're going to do that in just a few minutes over on Locals. And if you're not on my Locals yet, if you are not a paid subscriber, I am going to put a link on the screen now. Hold on here. Okay, I'm putting a link in the comments. You should be able to see a link in the comments. And if you would like to join in on the discussion on our Locals community, you can do so. And by doing that, it will help me and it will support my independent journalism. Lisa, I did a story on that, Lisa. I interviewed the CEO of Crowds on Demand last week, and he said he is not a part of the protest. You can see that story on my Locals page. I interviewed him 1 week ago, Lisa. Do I believe him? I don't know. I don't believe anybody, really. I don't believe any people. So any closing words that anyone has, any comments, let me know before we switch over to Locals. Scott, thank you very much, Scott. Yeah, exactly. No bot. Yeah, that's a good thing as well, Sissy. There's no bots on Locals. There's no bots whatsoever, which is amazing because on Facebook, you'll deal with so many fake accounts, so many fake bots. It's really bad because you have to deal with a lot of BS, if you could say the least. So thank you, everyone, for being here. We are going to switch over now live to Locals, and we are going to be going behind a paywall. So if you would like to support my independent journalism, it's $5 a month. You're helping me to do all this, to get the real news out to everybody. Click that link that I had on the screen, davebondy.locals.com/support. Let me put it up here one more time. Okay, there you go. Thank you, everyone, for watching. We are now going to be transitioning over to Locals for the next 10 to 15 minutes. Have a great night, everyone. Okay, thank you, everyone, for watching on Locals. Thank you for being here on Locals. I really appreciate it. We are slowly going off now. We're off Facebook. We're off Twitter. And we are off of YouTube. I'm trying to get off YouTube. We're still live on